I am excited.
Yes,
A lot of stuff to share today.
that's right.
Um, Happy Saturday, everybody, for whoever is watching. Who are we? For if you are seeing us for the first time, I'm Arson, and this is Joanna. And what are we doing here? We're basically sharing golden nuggets. So we're basically sharing our kind of story, our journey of losing 100 pounds. So whatever you see in the title in the Facebook group or maybe YouTube, you will that's exactly what we're doing. So together we've set a goal of 100 pounds together between both of us, and that's really our goal. So now we're a month into it. We're actually going to be sharing some numbers with you, that's why I was excited, because it's fun to kind of look back at the last four weeks. And then we're going to move on. Once the numbers are shared, we're going to actually move on to some tips, some lessons. We're going to be sharing more knowledge. But before we do that, I just wanted to kind of congratulate everybody who's watching this, because it's sort of like a big deal. If you're looking at this content, you're probably moving in the right direction, right? So it's not our content is really not about just weight loss. It's more of like, yes, weight loss, but what that really leads to eventually in the long term is better health. So our age, 48 and 47, so that's kind of where we are. So far, we seem to be moving in the right direction. Like I said, month one is done. Before I look at numbers, would you like to add anything?
No, nothing. Big step forward just watching this. And
Yep.
it's not only about losing weight, it's about feeling good for for a longer time, being able to put something in your lifestyle that's easy and you can maintain this. And we'll share that down the road too, how to maintain. So,
Yep, I totally agree. I am switching over to I want to share some pictures with you guys. And before we talk about data and boring stuff, let's look at this and just appreciate the ocean a little bit. I went for a walk. We're going to talk about the timelines and kind of what we do during the day after we get up, and it's different for Joanna and different for me. I actually went on a walk today. This was sunrise this morning. For if you don't know, we're in Florida, more specifically in Palm Coast, Florida. So it's between Daytona and Jacksonville. But that was the view this morning. Really something that I appreciated. But enough of the nature talk. Let's look at the numbers. All right. So Joanna's numbers first. Let me see if I can zoom in so you guys can see better. Where we started 4 weeks ago, Joanna kicked it off at 201.4, and then
yes.
gradually. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Yeah. 201.4. And then now she's currently at 192.4. Congratulations, Joanna. I know you were kind of freaked out when you lost. I don't know, you were like measuring and remeasuring, and there was some like fluctuations with your water and stuff, like liquids, because you were like, I think it was like 2.2 or 0.2, but then it
Yes. So
eventually dropped.
So normally, this is to my ladies out there, I would weigh myself on a Tuesday, and Marston weighs himself on a Saturday. So I weighed myself on a Tuesday, and it looked like I only gained zero point 0.2 pounds. Now, I understand I wasn't, maybe freaked out is not the right word, but it was concerning, right? Because we're doing this for a reason. But then also, I remembered that I just went through my cycle. I was bloated. I didn't feel good. The week before, I ate the whole world that could be in front of me. It was very hard to keep my hours because of this. And for you ladies, that's what's going to happen. You're going to have probably that 1 week that where you're going to feel like whatever you're eating is not good enough. The hours are way too short for your eating window, and your weight loss may be a little bit lower. It's okay. So on Tuesday this week, when I weighed myself, I lost only zero point 0.2 pounds. But when I weighed myself on Saturday, because I want to jump on the same weighing schedule as Marcin, I lost 1.8 pounds, so almost 2 pounds, which completely makes sense because now my cycle has ended. I am probably done with my period and now going on to the new cycle. Also, a very important thing here is I don't get my periods anymore. I had a hysterectomy, so it's hard for me to tell when the cycle is happening or not. But that's another episode that we'll talk about how to deal with your hormones and this whole fasting thing.
It's gonna
Okay,
be
back to Boston.
it's gonna be an exclusive. I don't think I need to be part of that episode, but I think I can try to sit through it.
Hey, might go through that too a little bit.
Yeah, true. All right, so then again, back to our numbers here. So you're at 192.4,
Correct. That's today
and
morning.
yep. And then let's go to my numbers. Obviously, there's going to be a difference. I'll show you guys the board that we have that we have posted in our bedroom, so you can understand the whole picture, kind of high level. But for me, I started with 276.4. 4 weeks into the cycle, 257.4. So that I gotta move some windows around here. I apologize, guys, but that looks like a point 0.8 pound. That's really meaningless, but it's 19 pounds total, I believe. So I'm getting close to my 20 pounds. Big milestone. 20 pounds is kind of when you switch when you're like a triple XL, like I was, to a double XL. I'm a double XL, and I know every 20 pounds I can change the size. So super exciting. But what was more exciting about this, like I'm actually at 2.8 for this week, but I was just psyched because I punched into the 257, right? From 260 to 50. It's always exciting when you change that second number. So that's where I am. And then I was mentioned the board. You guys can look at this. Again, I'm gonna try to zoom in here. So we track numbers. This is in our bedroom, right in front of our bed. And you guys can see here. Again, let me just rearrange because something's in my way. This is much better. You guys can see on the right here, we're tracking Joanna's numbers, and you can see the arrows are losses, right? Week after week. So week 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then you can see the red arrows are 1.6 and 2.8, and then Joanna mentioned 0.2, and then we have 1.8 at the bottom. So this is exactly what she was talking about. On my side is 6.3, 5.5, 4.4, and 2.8, which is expected, right? Because that rate, I mean, you can't sustain it at 6 pounds a week. That would be ridiculous. Most of it was water at the very beginning, inflammation going away. So a lot of good things happening. I can sleep better, stomach is not bloated, and all the good stuff. So my knees are actually better. So that's all good. And then on the left side here, we're just kind of totaling, running a tally of like the total pounds. And right now, we're reaching almost 25 pounds. We're 24.8 pounds together of lost weight. And I kind of did like a quick summary of this is sometimes you guys are going to hear Joanna saying Marcin or Marcin, because that's the Polish version of it. And even though I say Joanna, for short, it's Asha. That's why it's here as an A. So she has a total of 6.4. I already mentioned total on my end is 19. Absolutely expected. I know some ladies are going to maybe get discouraged, but guys, remember, like for ladies, it's totally a different ball game, right? Like if you look at it, the optimal human being, right? Like for guys, it's something ridiculous, like 7% body fat. But for girls, like optimal is like 14 or 16 or 18. So obviously those numbers are going to be a lot different. Like we usually have this rule of thumb that it's like when Joanna is doing this thing with me and we're like, oh, she's going to be at like half where I am, which is totally expected. That does not translate into effort or anything. It's just that's how we're designed. So that's just, I'm reiterating on this next screen here. Those are against the numbers, which I went through, and then left, which we have talked about. And I think that's it for numbers right now. I know we wanted to talk about the main topic today, really, which is the our schedules.
Yes.
I know folks are probably like, listen, this is all good. The knowledge is good. All the putting things in context in terms of like why are we here? What is it that we're actually doing? Which is intermittent fasting. If you have watched the previous episodes, you already know. But like intermittent fasting. But I think before we even get into like because I know everybody's probably like antsy to hear about like foods and measuring calories and exercise, which by the way we're gonna talk very little on, because 98% of our results it's mostly in the kitchen, not gym.
We put in
Um, yeah, and and I know we wanted to talk about like schedule. What is it that like you and me do every day? I mean, literally from like the time you get up. What are the times? What do we have set up for sort of our fasting periods? Meaning, when I say fasting, we're really talking about two different types of time intervals. So you either eat or you don't. So one is fasting, one you're basically eating. So that's what we want to talk about today. Do you want to kick it off with yours? I'll share the screen and then we can get that going.
Sure.
Let's look at this screen here. And before we talk about schedules, should we cover this?
Yeah. You know what? No, let's do schedule first.
Schedule first. You got it, boss.
All right.
So let me hold on. Give me 1 second.
So even though our schedules are similar, but yet on the other hand, a little bit different, they're personalized to us. What makes sense for us, to feel comfortable with doing all this. Um,
Give me one.
uh,
Give me 1 second before you start discussing this.
no,
I
I
just
just
want to make.
to everybody that everybody's got to figure out their own path. You can use this as an example, but please don't try sticking to it, because do what is comfortable for you. Because if you're going to try to do something that's not comfortable or easy to follow for you, you're not going to stick to it. It's not going to become your plan.
So I'm actually gonna add to that. So because this is super valid point. What you just touched on. Uh, when we talk about, that's why I thought maybe the first screen was very important, because I wanted to talk about typically like what we do when we don't have sort of, when we're not thinking about fasting or schedules or like any, for an average person, uh what is it that we're doing in terms of like consumption, like food, breakfast and dinner. So um so
Okay, go to
normally,
okay.
sorry.
We can go to the first screen if you would like. It's okay.
Yeah, because this to me, when I'm looking at this image here, guys, is this is a cycle of what should we call it? I mean, normally it ties into like glucose burning, and but this is really what happens when you eat. If you watch episode number 2, I was basically talking about what happens with food when it enters your body. It's being converted into glucose, then glycogen for storage, and all this stuff. You don't need to memorize none of that. What you need to know is that basically when you eat, what happens, let's say an hour after you eat, 2 hours, 5 hours, because this will kind of make sense into like when we talk about schedule, you'll see why we're doing what we are doing, right? The different time intervals. So on this one, it's basically when we eat, and I don't know if you can see it well.
Maybe a little bit bigger.
Maybe a little bit bigger. Hopefully this is better.
Yeah.
So this is just screenshot from the app that which we're going to go through. But basically, what I wanted to show on this one was this is what happens when you eat. So within the first 2 hours, your blood sugar is slowly rising. So you ate. If you were to measure your glucose in your blood, you would see the rise. It peaks, and then next thing that happens is between 2 hours later, your blood sugar is going down. So you had your sugar spike, right? And then when the glucose is entering your bloodstream, and then between 2 to 5 hours, it's going down. And then 5 hours later, guess what? You're hungry again. So what's going to happen is the blood sugar will normalize, it'll go down. Now you're at the baseline again, and you get hungry, and what happens? You eat again, same cycle happens again. And normally what happens is when you're looking at the time here, it's 12 hours. We're usually awake for 12 or 14 hours. So that's typically what people do. They eat for 12 hours. They never sort of get beyond that time. Is there a better way that you like that you can explain it? Like maybe you're thinking of it different way?
No, I think that that's a good example. You just go through the cycle. Your body needs energy. It looks for the glucose in your body, and we supply it by uh, giving food.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
so you go for 12 hours. Sometimes I don't want to say sometimes. I'll use myself as an example. So when I was prior in my past life, prior to intermittent fasting, I was basically eating from the time I got up to the time I went to bed. So literally, sometimes I would get up. I mean, the first hour would probably just go. I mean, it's work preparation and washing your teeth and eating breakfast. So probably sometimes half an hour after, I would have my first either snack or breakfast or something, and then literally before bed, sometimes 9 p.m., 10 p.m. Sometimes I would watch something and it would be 11:30, 12. I would just sit there and snack just because it's pleasurable. So I'm talking about a window, and then I would sleep for 8 hours. So here's the thing. When you think about it, this window of eating. It's almost reversed. You're eating for 16 hours and you're sleeping for 8. If you're like me, that is, because I understand there are healthy people out there that kind of understand or pay attention to what they're putting in their mouth. So this is when we're going to talk about our schedules, and you guys are going to see the 18-6. You're actually going to see the reverse. But I want you to understand this is not something that happened overnight. This is not something we did in 4 weeks. Like we're on this journey for a while. That's why we're here and just kind of telling you, what works for us, because hopefully it works for you. Hopefully you can replicate it. Hopefully it works for you. And that's basically what it is. Um, where do we want to go next?
I, so the fasting.
The schedule?
No, the fasting part, right? What happens while you're
Right.
fasting?
Right. Thank you. So yeah. So the thing is, when we're talking about fasting in our body really starts after hour 12. So you kind of see the problem. If you're eating for 16 hours and fasting and then you go to sleep, you never get to that point, right? When the
Yes.
body actually converts. I'm going to use an analogy really quick because you guys know I love analogies. So when we're eating, a healthy body should consume food, burn food, and hopefully, if you're eating the right amount of calories, we'll talk about calories later, but if you are eating within the number of calories that you should be eating for your particular body,
And I
the
just want to
body,
add
mhm,
the correct calories. It's
correct
not only
calories.
the amount of calories, the correct calories.
Correct. Correct. And we'll talk about calories. We'll dedicate an episode just to calories. But if you're eating the right amount of calories, the body should burn through this stuff. It shouldn't deposit anything. It shouldn't store anything. You should just normally function. And then next day, same thing happens. When you go back to Flintstones ages, you guys know that like food would not be just readily available. No fridges for Fred Flintstone to grab sausages from, right? So normally, what would happen is they would have to either gather food or run after their food, right? So that's really important for a healthy body. You eat, you burn it, and you turn it into energy, and you just repeat the cycle. Now, what happens when with an average human like myself, I typically overeat, right? Because I'm feeding my body, I'm providing my body with bad calories. What happens to the extra calories then? So I burn through whatever I need to burn for me to operate on a day-to-day basis. What happens with the rest? Well, it's being stored. Think of it as like it's being put in a fridge. And then the idea behind this for your body in an ideal environment is like when next day when we get up and we have no food within reach because we didn't find it, right? Hunters and gatherers, we should be reaching to that storage, to that fridge, to pull the extra calories from your fat storage. That unfortunately is not what's happening with us. So extra calories are being stored. We get up the next day, we overeat again. The same story happens. We put more in the fridge and then more in the fridge. 30 days later, the fridge is barely closing, right? And the thing is, what happens with the fridge? A typical story. You know what happens with the fridge when you don't clean it? Food gets spoiled. It's just not gonna go in the right direction. And that's exactly what happens to your body. That's when we get to like diseases and not feeling well because your body just simply cannot do this over an extended period of time. And that's why we're talking about different health benefits of just eating the regular way because that's what happens. So, by definition, your body enters fasting, meaning pulling from storage, after hour 12. So, with that being said, you can see here that hour 12 to hour 15, this is when your body starts, you kind of get hungry at that point, but your body, while you're sleeping, if that period is extended, is starting to tap into fat storage. So that's what it says here. You're in a fat burning stage 1. So it's tapping into that, and then hour 16 through hour 24, you're in fat burning stage 2. This is when we're going to talk about ketones. I'm not sure if Joanna's going to mention ketones today. Most likely,
Yes.
but that's what happens. Ketones production, and you're now seriously burning fat for storage, not food, right? So this is kind of where we are heading with our hours. You're going to see our hours are 18:6, which means we fast for 18 hours, but eat for 6. And like Joanna said, I want to reiterate, this is not where you're going to be day one. If you're just starting, it's different than for somebody that's already familiar with intermittent fasting. So we're basically saying that if you can cut your window of eating this like 9 to 9 to something more manageable, like we need to start compressing that window down to 12 hours. 12 hours would be an ideal point to start. So if you eat for 12 hours, and then do not eat for 12 hours, that would be ideal. I'm not going to go as far as like talking about autophagy, which I mentioned in another episode. That's too far out. So, with that being said, now let's go to the to your eating timeline, and let's talk about your day.
All right. So, like Marcin said, I do 18:6, 18 hours of fasting. So, absolutely no food in my mouth or any drinks that have calories in them. And 6 hours of eating. Sorry, guys. Kids went back to school. And of course, I am a little sick. They were sick for 2 days. I am going to be sick for 5 days. But because we're doing fasting, not as sick as normal, believe it or not. So, So my day starts usually around 5:15. I wake up, I get dressed, I do my thing. 5:30, I do meditation because me and Marcin strongly believe that your mindset is number one. If your mind is calm and ready for the day, you can accomplish a lot. Then at 6 o'clock, I have my salt water while getting the kids off to school. 6:50, kids are off to school, and I start my walk. My walk is about 45 minutes, nothing crazy. I listen to a book, a podcast, or some music, and I just walk around in the neighborhood for 45 minutes. Get get back home, start my workday, make my coffee at 9 o'clock. Sometimes the coffee is with MCT oil. Sometimes it's just plain coffee. Um, and then my first meal is around 12 o'clock. Again, that could be if I'm really hungry. I'm waiting for that 12 o'clock to start eating. And if not, sometimes I push it till 1 o'clock. I just listen to my body. Um, then I have a snack with a coffee around 2 o'clock. Our snacks are listed there. Maybe Marcin, can you make it a little bit bigger?
Sure.
But I love my cottage cheese. I use cottage cheese with fresh fruit, um, I love my nuts, or frozen. Marston likes frozen fruit, cheese, sliced meats, cottage cheese, or like I said, or even fresh veggies cut up with hummus. One of my favorite things, and also sometimes, but that's later. This is my evening snack. So I go on through my workday. I prep the dinner to be around 5 o'clock always, between 4:30 and 5 o'clock. We prep the meal. 5:30, I usually end my day with a snack. I love pistachios, but again, it's like a bowl about this size, of pistachios or apples with almond butter, and then I end eating by 6 o'clock. So that means the last bite that goes into my mouth or that has any type of calories is 6 o'clock. And then usually in that window between 5:30 and sleep time 9:30, I like to have a tea or water with lemon. um, I'll definitely share the water with lemon, why I do that, with you guys. And that's it. 9:30 sleep. And let me tell you, I make sure that I'm in bed by 9:30. So all
I
right,
can
Marcin.
I can attest to that. A couple things that I so let's review. I'm looking at the bottom of the screen here, and you mentioned 5:15 is when you get up in the morning. Joanna handles kids, and and with our kids, they're both in middle school. The buses. What time do you guys leave? 6:35 about to drop them off. So that's why she's up super early, and then 9:30 is bedtime. But that the hour I was talking about, that window of when she starts and finishes eating is 12 to 6. So you guys now can see the 12 to 6 is the green 6 at the top. And for 18 hours, she's basically not eating. That doesn't mean she doesn't put anything in her mouth, like she said. Coffee, it's mostly drinks, but nothing that would contain calories. So the one thing that I wanted to do, not sure, do you have it in front of you? Do you have the maybe salt or no?
Yeah, I do. Yep.
I just wanted to
Yeah.
I know we've pointed it out at one point. Let me just switch the screen so everybody can see better. All right, there you go. So this is we never know how to pronounce it. I admitted that already. Celtic, sea salt. There's a reason why we're doing this one, the most natural. It's more expensive, guys, but that's really the stuff you wanna use. No, iodized there's some bad stuff in regular salt. So this is what we're doing. We get it from Amazon. You can look it up. You can search. I think you had a link.
I'll
We
share a
can
link too.
Yeah, we can always add a link. And then the other thing, what was it? What was it? MCT oil you mentioned. I know we talk about it a lot. Just wanted to show you this is what we use. It's literally I just squirt it into my cup before I pour my coffee. Do you measure what is it? 1 tablespoon?
A half to it, 1 tablespoon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. And we put that in, like, we both blend it so it's comes out like a cappuccino in one of those mini blenders. We'll try to include links somewhere, but that's really what it is.
In our feed, yeah. If you take
Yeah,
a look, you'll definitely see me making one, with the links to everything, just to make it easy for you guys.
yeah,
You don't have to go on looking for stuff. No excuses not to start.
yeah.
That's what
True,
we're trying to help you guys with.
true. Did you do you also have Element on you?
I don't. I'm sorry.
Okay. You know what? While I go through my timeline, can you just run
I
out
will,
quickly and grab one?
yeah.
All right, cool. Okay, so back to the timeline. Joanna's gonna grab the stuff because I really want you guys to see it, and I'm gonna switch over. I'm gonna switch over to my timeline. It's gonna be very very similar. We're on similar schedules. So this is my daily routine. Same thing, same spiel. 18:6. We actually, when we started, we were on different schedules. I believe she started on the 14:10 originally, and so did I. and then I think I accelerated a little bit, and she took it easy, and then she accelerated, and I stayed behind. It totally doesn't matter because it's your, but you have to listen to your body, and it's one of those things where you switch from your existing plan. You just kind of have to take it slow. I'll do a little summary after this, but let's look at the chart. And what you guys are seeing here, very similar times when we get up. Joanna's up earlier. I mentioned the kids, and I'm in bed usually 10 p.m., 10:30. I'm usually out by 10:30. So, if I don't know, I think my phone is on the do not interrupt or whatever at like 9 p.m. I got to tell you, we just got used to this protocol so much that it works. So because we're strong believers that like your morning really starts not in the morning, it actually starts the evening before, the night before. And I even tell people sometimes, it's like, don't set your alarm clock to the morning hours. Set your alarm clock to when you should be going to bed. Obviously, the more sleep you get, the earlier you're going to get up with really no effort. So that's what it is. But my time is from 6 o'clock. I'm looking at the bottom of the chart, from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. My eating window is a little different. I eat at 11:30 for whatever strange reason, and then 5:30 is when I cut it off. I think subconsciously I do it intentionally, because a lot of times when Joanna's doing dinner and I know she's shooting for 6 o'clock, I know I will sometimes miss dinner. And at the beginning, in my early stages, I kind of like to do it because I'm almost forced, just by following the timeline, I'm forced not to almost skip dinner. And just to challenge that statement, last night, for example, I had my yogurt with frozen berries, nice, treated as a dessert. It was good. And then it was 5:30. I'm like, all right, I'm at the end of my window. And I guess what happens? Joanna comes back from the Polish store, brings some kielbasa back, and I'm like, all right, there's no way I'm not gonna eat it. So I actually I had 2 pieces with onion. Great. It's not something that's gonna hurt me. Obviously, I'm pushing my eating window to now 6 o'clock. So guess what? Today, it's right now we're recording this 11:45. I'm not eating until 12, and that's intentional because I did a trade-off with myself, right? Like I knew I pushed it half an hour, so the next day I'm trying to make it up and stay and still push it a little bit, right? And then I'm gonna resume my regular schedule, 5:30. Plan is to stop eating. So 6 a.m. I wake up and then 45-minute walk, guys. So here's the thing. I just want to say one thing about exercise. I know I'm digressing, but this is important. Exercise it's not what's the right word?
It's not what we do like when we're in 20s or 30s, aggressive exercise.
We're not going to be preaching, like if you're thinking we're going to be sending you out to get a gym membership, it's not like it's exercise and movement is important. I like to do my walks in the morning because this is usually when I read to my audiobooks. I can listen to music, I can listen to podcasts, and it's a 45-minute walk. I don't know, I just made it up at one point, and 45-minute. But I gotta tell you, when I originally started with the idea, it was silly. The productivity coaches will tell you, literally get up every day for 2 weeks and put your shoes next to the next to your closet. So you're removing all the friction. You're getting up, the shoes are there. Put the shoes on and just go outside and come back. No walking. I know it sounds really strange, but you're gonna notice it's the same with eating. Like when you're learning new habit, please do not stretch it. Please don't go further than when you can. So literally with walking, for example, if you put your shoes on and walk outside, if you can, that is, and walk to the nearest stop sign and back, or nearest intersection or nearest tree and back, that's more than enough. Do it for 2 weeks. You almost have to do it. Same with when you're adjusting your eating windows. You have to almost stick to it for 2 weeks until it's really bothering you that you should be changing that window. Because the reality is, on good days, you're not going to have a problem changing your hours, but on the bad days, you're going to regret that you did. So the point is, if you're going to go through 14 days of eating certain way, let's say it's 14 hours of eating, then make sure that retrospectively, at the end of 2 weeks, you look back, and if you're going to honestly, right, to yourself, if you're going to say, hey, listen, I only had bad days. Sounds like I may change the window. Go ahead and change the window. But if you're gonna look back and like, well, that was kind of, that was kind of all over the place. Like I was super hungry this day and less, and maybe aggravated, and like it just made me, hangry on one day. Please don't do it. Please go as far as you need to. So for some people, it could be a week. For some people, it could be 2 weeks. For some people, it could be a month. But that's the only way you're going to make it sustainable. Same thing with gym and working out and whatever you're planning. Some people are actually working out. I'm too lazy to do that. But I do the walks, and 45 minutes is where I am right now. But this took me a long time. So back to the schedule. 7 a.m., 45-minute walk. 8 a.m. When I, after my walk, I have salt. This is what Joanna was showing you. My first meal 11:30. At 8:15 I have coffee, obviously MCT oil. I love that thing. And that's really it. Snack, for whatever strange reason, I have my snack immediately after. Like it's almost like an addiction. My body is just craving that meal. Like I've developed this habit of just having some nuts. We don't. I forgot to bring it and pull it out of the closet. Don't go, Joanna, anywhere. But we're gonna show you later, or maybe we can share in Facebook group. We get this stuff from Costco. It's whatever keto nut mix or something. We just have like a little bowl. Guys, be careful with nuts because you can go over really quickly. Like an average meal, on average, right? It's about between 800 calories to maybe 1,200 calories. Ball of nuts, like a little full ball of nuts, could be 800 calories. It could be a meal replacement. So like you have to eventually figure out, like, is it worth to eat this bowl of nuts, or would I just rather eat like a regular meal? Because what we're gonna kind of preach you is stay away from like little snacks throughout the day. It's okay to have one snack, maybe two, but like there are people that are snacking all the time.
Yeah.
You get up in the morning before you eat your breakfast, you grab something, you snack. Especially like when you're preparing your kids, that's like for moms, that's probably a bad habit because they're preparing things, and it's like just putting things in their mouth without even thinking about it. And then they have a snack on the way out to work, and then they have lunch, and then they have a snack just habitually at around 1 or 2, and then you're heading home, you're a little hungry, you grab something, another snack, and it's like you guys know what I'm talking about because everybody kind of does it. So snacks, not by definition bad, just not 15 snacks throughout the day. So snack one at about 1:30 after I eat lunch, literally 30 minutes, 40 minutes, and then I grab my nuts, a bowl of nuts, and then 2:15 is meditation. I do it midday. It keeps me sane, I gotta tell you. We'll talk about meditation in a separate episode on this. I know it's got probably freaking some people out, like, because we think of it as like this woo-woo thing, but I think of it as just like it just keeps you calm. Like no matter what happens, if you do it on a regular basis, I've been doing meditation for now more than 4 years, and absolutely can't live without it. So something that I recommend, not for everybody, works for me. If it works for you, fantastic. 5 p.m. Meal, which is dinner. I'm not. Some people are sensitive to like eating leftovers. For me, it's either what Joanna cooks at the time, or I just go to the fridge and just grab whatever. I'm not really that picky about my food. My dad, for example, he was quite the opposite. He always preferred to have fresh food, and I know some people are going to be like sensitive about this stuff. But I just grab whatever's available at the time, and I have my meal. Snack number 2. This one I try to play with, meaning I try not to make it a habit so I eat it every day. Like yesterday I mentioned, I went over, right? But this one is actually snack 2. This one is usually, I eat yogurt. I think it's called Too Good, another product we have to show you guys. And it's basically, it's not that specific product, but like try to use the right stuff, which we're gonna try to share in a group. But I have a bowl of that yogurt with frozen berries. Joanna, where do you get the berries? Where's the bag from?
But here's the thing, you guys. So I will take a pic. I'm actually going to Costco today, right after this. I'll take a picture of all the things that I bought that I could only get at Costco, or getting for Costco for our way of eating. It's the same thing that I buy every 2 weeks. So I'll go shopping today, take a picture, and I'll make sure I'll post it next week for you guys to see.
Cool, cool. Because the next thing I wanted to ask about is that stuff that we put on top. I have no idea even what it is, but it's
Yes,
super addictive.
granola. It has basically no flours. It's
Yeah,
just nuts, dried blueberries, cinnamon, and coconut.
yeah, it's really good.
No,
It's one of those ketogenic products. But the thing is, the reason why I don't have it every day, I've noticed that when I have it, it comes with the sweetener. It doesn't have sugar, I don't think, or not a lot of sugar. I noticed that when I have it, usually that day after, or the morning, or the next day in the morning, I have more cravings for whatever reason. And I think it's that stevia, it's the sweeteners that my brain is just like, hey, we just had a little semi party. Can we have more of that stuff? So I'm not trying, I'm trying to like at least sometimes it's every other day. Most times is probably once, maybe twice a week. And Joanna always laughs because it's like when my definition of like my definition of ball is different than her definition of ball. She eats like a little ball, like I guess the way you should be eating it.
sprinkle it on.
She sprinkles. I go heavy, man. Like when I have it, it's a ball of yogurt with fruits and like it's a pretty good size. So that's probably another reason. And then 45 minute, I have another walk. We have a treadmill at home, and I just walk. But a lot of times it's just we live by the beach close, and I try to walk outside as many times as possible. But if I can, too tired or whatever, I still try to go out. And I know Joanna, she just walks around the neighborhood, so she's not a fan of treadmill walking. Maybe too lazy to go to the beach, I don't know, but but she walks around the neighborhood. And 10 o'clock sleep. That's really my timeline. Anything that you wanted to touch on?
No, it's basic. It's a basic timeline, but remember, you guys, everybody does their own, and you'll figure it out. It's timelines to be adjusted at any point so it matches your lifestyle.
Yeah,
So, don't
yeah.
worry.
Um, we have talked about timelines. I know we talked about the app a little bit. We even did like a semi demo. I don't think. I think to the amount we use it we use it day to day, right? So
Yeah,
I wanted to just bring up the application again and just kind of walk through the process of setting up the time frames, right? The 18:6,
yeah,
and maybe
yeah.
we can walk them through and just to reiterate. Some people maybe
Simple walk. Yeah.
missed it in another episode. So let me switch over to my phone. Okay, guys, there you go. All right, so hopefully you can see it okay. And here, very top middle of the screen, the purple and white circle looks like a target. The application is called Simple. You can find it in if you're Android, and Apple and Apple Store. But when I enter the application, here's what I see. I kind of went through it last time. I'll do it again just quickly. So here, first thing that I see, you see the timer, and it's 3 minutes 35, 34, 33. That's counting down to my until 12 p.m. Remember how I said like normally 11:30 I start, but like because of yesterday I'm starting at 12. This application helps me track this information. So it's really super helpful because I don't have to think or calculate or whatever. If you look at my home screen again, that little circle that the counter 3, 11, and 10 and 9, that's the same thing. So every single time I open my phone, I'm like, is it time to eat? And I can just quickly assess. I don't have to access application even. So if you want to add a widget to your phone, do it. If you don't know how to add a widget, comment below. Just say, hey, help me with the widget, and then I'll do like a quick separate video just to show you how to do it. But back to the app. This is counting down. It says until 12 p.m. And that's kind of where I am. I'm going to pretend that it's 12 o'clock right now, and I'm going to say end fast because I'm going to eat right now. So I'll say end. It's asking for the time. And then Joanna mentioned she puts her foods here. Why are you doing that? Can you explain?
Yeah, I keep it because it kind of it will keep track of what you're eating. So if you really want to use the app to its full potential, you can put in all the food that it's giving you. It'll sort of calculate it, if you're eating enough of proteins, enough of carbs, fiber, and so forth, by putting this in. Um, and then you can also put your weight goal. So that it tracked for the app has way more than just keeping your time. It can also help you out with what you're eating, to the weight that you're losing, if that makes sense. We just don't use it to its full potential.
Yeah, we're cheap. We don't want to pay for the application. So that's what we're doing. 11:57 log entry. I'm not putting in food because I never go back to like revisit what I was eating. Joanna's more sensitive apparently about this. Log, and it says meal logged. Okay, continue. It'll give me a little screen here, and it'll say I don't have the what is it, typically confetti flying all over the screen because I should be on like 6 hours and it's 5 hours 57 minutes. But that's what happens here. So I'll say, oh, and the again I'll mention it says fasting window, right? The purple. It says 17 hours 57 minutes of 18 hours, right? That's my 18 from the chart that you guys saw, and then fat burning 557. So I sacrificed for you and I finished my fast 3 minutes earlier. But that's what happens here. I'm just going to say done. And now the cycle starts again. So now it says 5 hours, 30 minutes, 44 seconds for me to eat. Now, Marcin, why is it 5:30? You said 6 hours. Remember when I said I pushed my like half an hour? So this tool tracks this, right? And now it knows that like 5:30 is my time. So now I have less time because I chose to eat more yesterday. So it's kind of cool. And now it's saying 5:30 p.m. and then my next eating window is 11:30 a.m. So it's an 18-hour fast. Now, for somebody that wanted to switch the windows, right? There is this it's like a setting button next to start fast, right underneath the timer. There's this little icon, and fasting schedule setup. This is where you go in, and at the top there's a drop down. If you click on it, here's where you guys can see your hours, right? So you can set it up to whatever you need to set it up to. I'm gonna pick on my mom. Hi, mom. But she's doing the 16 hours of not eating, and she's eating for 8 hours, so that's her window. But if you keep scrolling down here, you'll see that like you can't scroll past 12 hours. Why? Joanna, why you can't go past 12?
Anything that's less than 12 hours, it's not fasting.
All right, A plus. So that's what happens. So you won't be able. So unfortunately, you won't be able to do that. But that's the goal, right? To get to 12 hours at least. So guys, and I think it's fair. Like if you're eating at 9 in the morning, or like let's say 10 is your breakfast, and then you're eating at 10 at night. I know what you're thinking. You're gonna be like, oh no, I totally go past. Like I'm here, guilty. But once you get there, this should be your target right now. If you're eating for 14 hours or 15 or 16, get it to 12, please. Maybe except for your drinking nights, because I know you're going to eat it too in the morning. So here's when we're setting the hours. And then we just pick. So if you're 15 hours at 9, 16, but it basically adds up to 24. And now when you pick your time, so 18 hours eat for 6, that's me, and I'm gonna just let it go. You'll see this you'll see this clock. You have to be kind of careful with that, because when you're switching windows, let's say you're adding an hour to your non-eating window, you have to always adjust the hours on this clock. So you basically grab one of the legs here, and you'll see it maintains that window of 6 hours of not eating, but you can adjust it. You can say, hey, my last meal is at 6:20, or you can say my last meal is 7:30, or you can. But then you'll see that the other side of that circle is
It's like a horseshoe, right?
it's a horseshoe. Yeah, it's also moving, right? Because if you're gonna now eat your last meal at 9:10 p.m., then guess what? You can't eat until 4. I mean, in that window. We make it so that I said 5:30 11:30 is my first meal. That works for me. If you, from the drop down, if you start with 12 hours and 12, then same story. You go here and you say, hey, listen, I'm going to do my breakfast. I'm going to do my breakfast at, let's say, 10 o'clock. And then last meal, 10 p.m. That's it. That's your cutoff. And if you can start there, let me rephrase. You have to start there. We want you guys to feel the benefits of what that thing will do to you. Intermittent fasting, just eating the right way. You have to feel it to believe it. So, but you can start there with your hours. I'm gonna go back and set mine back to what it's supposed to be. Last meal is 5:30, 11:30. Okay, so I'm good. So nothing changed for me there. Anything? Oh, by the way, if you scroll back here, if you wanted to see on particular days, you can, at the top of the screen, you can click on the different days of the week, and you can see kind of what you did. This is my current day. When you're tracking your weight, Joanna mentioned weight. At one point, I typed in 199. Again, my goal is under 210. But that's what it's tracking here. Losing weight this week, 2.6, 257 current weight. And I used to be able to click on this chart. I don't know if they changed it, but I can't see the maybe progress. It's not. But something good here under progress, which I also wanted to share with you. So we're done with this screen here, but under progress, the last icon at the bottom of the screen. This is just kind of a highlight of like daily average. So you guys can see this is, like last Sunday, Monday, and today is Saturday. You can see that dotted line is my plan. So 18.6, and daily average. You can see that on Monday I went past that window, right? So totally fine, guys. This is, it's not, I want you to understand, this is not like a binary, am I doing it or not? And once I fail with one day, the whole thing is over. Like, totally not. Just dial it back. Make sure you're the next day in the same spot and just continue going. That's it. Yeah. Same with, eating. When you happen to overeat at night or something, like on one day of the week, then you just dial it back and do that. And then food, I think this is just a different way to look at it. So those are my fasting windows. And this is, I can look at where I was eating. So between last Sunday and this Saturday, you can see like on Monday, I don't know what the heck I was doing, but I had a very short window to eat. Sometimes I got to tell you, sometimes when I feel good, I'll push through it. I'll go more like past my 18 hours and do 19 hours. It's not uncommon to have days where, like, once you start going that route, you're gonna see that it's like, I remember talking to my mom, because first time when I told her about this, she was kind of reluctant, thinking that it may not work for her. But then once she started implementing 12 hours and 13 hours and 14 hours, she's like, she would call me excited. She's like, oh my God, like, I totally don't feel like I need to eat. And that's exactly what it feels like. So sometimes when you see, like, I only ate on Monday between like maybe 2 o'clock to 6 o'clock for 4 hours, totally, it could happen. You'll see once you start kind of doing it. And that is it. Hydration, I don't really care about. Not that it's not important, super important. It's just I don't track it.
So can you go to track for it, since you mentioned that, go to track again.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys, once you put in your weight and the weight that you want to be in, it will tell you how much water to drink. So if you're bad at keeping track mentally, more or less how much you have to drink of liquids overall, you can hit that. I track mine, not every day, but sometimes I do. At least a couple times in the week, just to see where I am going with my water, if I'm on the right track.
All right, I learned something today. Cool. So this is the app. Any questions, guys? I know in the group, I'll talk about a group in a little bit, but you have the questions thread. You can put it there anytime. You can put it, because I'm going to be monitoring that thread. Sometimes it's not easy to like keep track of all the posts and all the comments. But if you put it under the questions thread, then it's definitely like I'm checking it daily in the morning. And then I just want to develop a habit of like seeing questions there and answering. Or you can comment under this video. I know last thing we wanted to talk about, we're getting close to an hour. But I know one thing you wanted to cover is the benefits of
Yes,
the
I just
12
wanted.
to 16 hours.
Yeah. So as we mentioned the first video, I am doing this for weight loss, but my major thing is just for better health overall, and starting to use my body for what it was created to do, not for it to age so quickly as it's aging because of what I've been feeding it for so long. So I want to talk to you about intermittent fasting, which is again 12 to 16 hours of not eating. We talked about setting up those hours and understanding them. I think everybody's got it down. But liver starts making ketones at 8 hours of not eating. It just starts making them, um, of not eating. At hour 12 to 15, your body is starting to use energy from the fat that it put away in order to keep going. Your ketones are now going into your bloodstream, which we want that. First place that these ketones will go to is your brain. It will turn off the hunger that you're sensing in your brain, as well as it will give you this physical energy and mental energy. And this is from our Stone Age time for you to be sharp and strong to go catch your food that you needed to. So use that power of the ketones. Liver at that point sees, oh, wait a minute, they're not feeding me and I need my glucose in order to keep going. So then it looks for the insulin that it would normally get from the food, um, that it's getting. It starts looking for it in the fat that it put away for this starving time that it's having. So again, you are burning fat because your body needs energy. Benefits of all this: after a while, your blood pressure will decrease, your fasting glucose and insulin will decrease, and your hemoglobin A1C will decrease as well. Another important part is the bacteria in your gut. Um, it's something that's been up and talked about for the past, about 20 years. So when everybody's looking at, wait a minute, our gut bacteria is actually pretty important. With being in a fasting state, your bad bacteria dies off because you're not feeding it sugar, what it needs to live on, and your good bacteria is starting to take over. When your good bacteria takes over, it automatically works on decreasing your blood sugar. It works on increasing the mood enhancing neurotransmitter sites. So basically, it starts to working on for you to be able to see pleasure more, if that's if you guys can understand that a little bit more, it's easier. So this is all the good bacteria that's doing, for your brain. Um, and of course, like we mentioned so much over and over, it helps balance your sugar. So who should be doing this 12 to 16 hour fasting? Anybody that wants to lose weight, like we're all, I think most of us are here for. Anybody that's experiencing brain fog, again, remember those ketones are going to go straight to your brain and you're going to be sharp, clear, and ready to go. And for anybody that is lacking energy, um, we have two sources of energy. One source is our eating, the food that we put into our mouth, and the other source is the fat burning source. Your fat burning source is the source that is most consistent. It's clear, and it sometimes feels like it's not going to end. You don't have the spikes of going up and down like Marcin showed us. So but your energy that you're feeding the food, this is where it gets tricky. If you give it carbohydrates, as you all know, you get a lot of spike. You have tons of energy. That's why, football players have these pastas. I remember in high school they would have all these pasta meals to have so much energy to keep going, but you crash, and after, and your crash is very low, we get tired, we want to take a nap. If you choose to eat proteins only, or basically have your meal be mostly proteins, your energy will be a little bit slower in rising, but also not fall as long and not fall as much and last a little bit longer. Yeah, so that's it. I just wanted to explain a little bit why we're doing this and what's going on in your body. So you better understand it, why it's so important. It's not only the weight loss, it's all these other factors that you're changing internally in your body that will you will be stronger and healthier down the road.
Very good. Couple things I was jotting, just a couple notes. The You mentioned ketones because I know a lot of times people hear of like the ketogenic diet and eating fats, and it's just like, what are even ketones? But the thing is, keto, like I always, another analogy from Marcin is, it's like when you extract oil, and then you can't put from the ground, can put it immediately into a car, right? Same way your body can just burn fat straight up, go and grab fat and consume it. So the oil, when it's extracted, it goes through a refinery and it's being converted into gas, and you can put it into a car. Same thing with ketones. Your body converts, your liver converts the stuff into ketones that can be absorbed by your brain, because your brain cannot feed off of fat directly. So that's one thing. The other thing is you mentioned dropping levels of like glucose and insulin. For some people, that could be phenomenal news. But I just want to highlight one thing. You always say that we're not a doctor, so you actually have to go to the doctor and check your levels and consult and seek professional help. But you have to be the studies show that your levels will adjust. Like your sugar will go down. That's not a question of if, it's a question of when. So if you are abusing your body for a very long time, it'll take some time to recover, right? Same thing with insulin levels. That one actually takes longer. But I mentioned that in one of the episodes. People are curing diabetes type 2 just with intermittent fasting, because if they don't use as much sugar or no sugar, obviously insulin is not being triggered. And insulin, after a while, your body is smart enough to figure out what's going on, and it drops insulin eventually. And for a lot of people, it takes years. It could take 3 years, 2 years. But hey, I always try to look at the positive, right? Like, oh my God, it's going to take me 3 years to drop my insulin. Well, yeah, but one thing is like you'll eventually be able to drop it. So probably, hopefully, you don't have to inject it into your body anymore. But the other thing is, it's like glucose adjustment. Guys, we're 4 weeks into it, and we see a difference in our glucose already. Like when I started, I was at 102.99. Don't worry about we'll show you visually kind of what it means and what we're doing. But you'll see the numbers dropping. So in 4 weeks, like your sugar is already dropping. And if you have been abusing and eating sugar for a long time, again, it'll take some time. But hey, it's not a bad deal. If you've been eating junk for the last 25 years, right, or 40, and then you can wait 12 months and get your sugar to some sort of a normal level, or normal level, to down to maybe 85 or under 90. Phenomenal, right? We'll talk about glucose levels and what it means. And Joanna already mentioned the crashing and the spikes and the sugar rushes. We'll cover this in I believe it's the next episode when we talk about glucose. But that was really important. And you also mentioned bacteria, the right bacteria in our gut, right? What we call microbiome. What you're gonna see is, I got to the point, I gotta tell you, when I was at 311, I'll be very transparent. Nothing tasted good. Like nothing tasted. Everything tasted the same. Ice cream tasted the same. Chinese tasted the same. Hot food tasted the same. Indian food. Like there was nothing, guys, that I could put in my mouth that would be semi-pleasurable. Everything just tasted like a cardboard, literally, because your microbiome, your bacteria in your gut is so messed up that it doesn't give you any pleasure out of eating. We are going to talk about it. We're actually planning on doing a live 24-hour fast, and maybe hopefully later, maybe 2-3 months, we're actually going to do our quarterly or semi-annual 72-hour fast, and then we'll just kind of do it, not live, but we'll tell you exactly what's happening on, on each day, just so you understand what happens. But like, what I want you to know is the takeaway from this is, when you don't eat for 72 hours and you put food in your mouth, and by giving your body this break, your microbiome goes nuts. Everything tastes 10 times better. Like, you think you're eating good food now. I promise you that when you do this for about 2 to 3 months and put away sugar for a little bit, you're gonna go back to the same donut. It's gonna taste 10 times sweeter, just because we're so like adopted to eating this sweet stuff without even knowing what sweet really means. So like right now you're eating those those cakes or whatever. I remember a friend of mine came from France, and tasted our bread, just regular loaf of what is the miracle bread or whatever it is, and said, "This is not bread, this is cake." So and I'm like, "What do you mean?" Well, and then he said, "This is sweet." And it's so true. We don't even detect it. Like, we just put it in the toaster and eat it, and it's like, without realizing. If you don't believe me, go to the fridge and pull out your ketchup. And I'm not trying to make anybody paranoid. We use ketchup, and it's okay because you can't avoid sugar in your life. Like, it's gonna be present. But what I'm trying to say is, the point is that it's just, we don't, if you don't think about it and you just consume it, everything ketchup tastes like ketchup. But then we realize, whatever we just put on our hot dog, it's the same as can of soda. Or so it's kind of, it gets tricky. We'll talk about food. There's like episode 5 or episode 6. We already have it on schedule. We'll talk about foods and what it means. So I don't want you to be kind of freaked out, but that's really what it is. So the microbiome, it adjusts. You over time, you give it a break. A lot of times it's kind of funny. I did also mention that before. Like Joanna, her taste changed. What is that you like hated before and you love now?
Olives. I could not eat olives. I would remove them off everything. Or jalapenos. Now, listen, I have my breakfast. I'll show you one of the breakfasts that I make. I make this. Some people call it, I guess, a quiche, but I eat it hot. It's with taco meat, and on top I put jalapenos, pickled jalapenos. I put so much olives, the sour cream. Everything just tastes so good. I'm even watering right now talking about it.
I know. Hey, this show is about preventing people from eating more and not getting them hungry. So that's really it. Those are the benefits. I know I want to wrap this up. And what else we wanted to cover? I think I wanted to point you guys to one spot in the group. Let's look here. It's on the inside the group. I just wanted to, like, sometimes we post content and it disappears after a while. You have to scroll or like look for things. What I'm going to do is create guides. So here's how, this is the typical view of the of our group. And then I just post information here, and then you have to scroll down to kind of find the information. It's a little slower now just because we're recording. But what I want you to know is, at the top, if you click on guides, for those of you that are not familiar with guides, I'm basically bundling everything up into a guide. So free weekly training, you can just click on guide and go here, and those are the recordings, the first episode, second, now I'm going to add the third episode. But also for the little tips that we're doing in the group, like Joanna went and talked about coffee, right? MCT oil. I did one on salt, I think. I'm going to create another guide with tips. This way you don't have to search, and every time you can just go through one of the guides and find it. Also, files, you'll see something pop in on your radar on Monday. Oh, no, it's already there. September 1st. It's probably scheduled September 1st. Yeah, it's not there yet. So a little sneak peek. But you're going to be able to see files here when we're providing some sort of like a cheat sheet for, I don't know, what to drink while I'm fasting. You guys are going to be able to go here and just open a file. And I don't know if I can do it right now just because it's scheduled. But you get the idea, right? You go and, oh, it's actually downloading a file. I didn't notice that. So so you can look at that. same reminder as always. When you're planning on joining us, maybe you're already following. I know two people reached out saying like, oh no, I'm on it, like I'm scheduling my windows. So the first to do, if you're seeing this for the first time, basically, first observe what you're doing, right? So get up in the morning, maybe jot down the time when you're starting to eat and the time when your last meal is, and just try to set your eating windows, right? With app or without app, you can just do it in your head. You don't have to pull the app if you're not, not so technical. But you can just follow it, and just make sure that those are the same times every day, or you're staying as close to it as possible. Um, and what else? And next episode, very exciting. We're gonna be talking about. Let's see if I have it here. Next episode, we guys are going to be talking about glucose, and those are actually our numbers from this morning. So this is Joanna's, and do I have mine? I do. So you can see Joanna's glucose right now. She's always elevated, more higher than me, but like 100 for her. And then if I click on this one, you can, inside the app, we'll talk about it same way as we talk about any other apps and devices. I'll actually show you. I'll try to do a test like here live on air, but you're going to be able to see that's her average. Her average is 98.8. So as she's testing, it's just kind of averaging out and saying, hey, here's your thing. Here's your number. For me, this morning, 8:25 a.m., 92. We'll talk about like elevations in glucose and whatever next time. But I just wanted to share this, and I think that's all I had. Other than that, if you're doing this, maybe you're doing this alone. I always say get a partner. It's always easier to have somebody for accountability. I know you have the group, and you can always come here and share, but make sure you grab somebody, friend, family member, whoever, right? I would ask you, we would really appreciate it if you guys would invite them to the group, just so we can do it together, so they are on the same page with you. And that's really it. Any last words from you?
No, that is it. Simple assignment for this week. Just look at what you're doing and push your hours into a minimum of 12 hours not eating. And reach out to us if you can. Let us know how is it working. What are you struggling with? Because if you're struggling with anything about this, you're not the only one.
Yes.
People
And
are not speaking out about it, and that's why we're here to help each other out.
speaking of help, guys, I know group is the group, but if you this is for the people that have already started. If you go to the group, there's a chat. Please join the chat. I can do it as an admin, right? I don't see the your experience, but join the chat or just ping me, message me. I'll add you to the chat from my side. And the chat is really like, we're gonna try to answer any question you guys have in terms of intermittent fasting and how this stuff works. So it's super convenient because you can literally just post your question in the chat, and whether it's going to be me, Joanna, or somebody doing it, or somebody that already, maybe it's a product question or something. We are all on different diets, so there's actually, I don't want this to be like a Joanna thing and Marcin saying something or sharing their stuff. We also would like to learn, like I also want to learn from you guys what you're doing, what works, what doesn't work, and it's great for motivation or whatever. So if you would like to join the chat inside the group, and just ping us. And this is not to say I'm going to be answering messages at 3 in the morning, but within reasonable time frames, usually when we're up or whatever, I have time, we're definitely going to hit you back and answer any questions that you have. And I think that's it.
You wanted to show Element, but I think it will show Element next time.
Element will show next time. Kind of works like the salt and MCT oil you added. For some reason, I like Element at night, but I do sometimes use it during the day. In the morning, I know when we go to like a park. Last time we were, well, I don't know, Universal or something. We were in a park.
Yeah.
Not the greatest choices when it comes to food in those entertainment parks. A lot of fried stuff. But Element helps us. There's always something you can find. But for a quick go and making sure that you don't crash or you're not, walking around the park upset, Element is great because you can just put it in your bottle. Taste. I mean, great that they have different flavors, and We'll post. I'm gonna ask you if you could post, since I mentioned it, to post it in the group, just so folks can see what's up. I know a lot of people are already familiar with Element, but Element is really a powder in a little sachets, the little bags. You pour it in, and it's just minerals. Oh, there you go. So those are the little packets, and huh?
I went the wrong way.
No, it's
I
okay.
I travel with these. I travel with these every time I fly to work, and I do use them on my flight days. It makes the jet lag, even though it's not far. I'm not flying far, but we as human beings should not be up in the air. It affects us. So it does help me with the next day feeling good. I always have
Yeah.
one of these.
What's your favorite? What's your favorite? What's the flavor that you like the most?
I think I like watermelon the best. Watermelon and which one is this? And the raspberry.
That's why it's
It is
missing.
soft,
That's why it's
guys.
missing all the time. All right.
I
So that's
don't,
it. That's it. What is it? Sorry.
I don't like the lime.
Yeah, I know. Then I suck it up. Then I have to drink it. It's okay. It's all in the name of love. All right, guys. Have a great weekend. Thank you for joining us and staying with us for this long. Any questions? Hit us up. Later.
Bye, you guys. Good luck.